What would you do if your beloved fiancé suddenly died? Would you grieve and move on, or marry them anyway? In some cultures and religions, it is normal to do just that. This is most commonly thought of as a tradition in Asian countries, such as China, Taiwan, and Japan, although it is practiced elsewhere as well. In areas where this is practiced, the wedding of the dead is as important as the wedding of the living. The wedding is also very similar, with replicas made of the bride and groom, as well as having gifts and food. The couple can get married and have children in the afterlife. Posthumous marriage, necrogamy, ghost marriage, spirit marriage, it goes by many names. This marriage may be between two deceased people, which is the most common, or between one living and one dead person. In some cultures and religions, the untimely death of an unmarried child could bring misfortune upon the family. It is said that if a family member dies without being married, they may haunt the family, or cause nightmares, or illness, until a suitable spouse is found. Sometimes the deceased person is said to come to a family member in a dream and express their desire for a spouse. In some Asian cultures, a woman's worth is determined by whether or not she is married. If a woman dies, unmarried, her spirit tablet may not be placed on her family's memorial altar. A woman's spirit tablet must be placed on her husband's family altar, so if she is unmarried, she will not be remembered and worshipped and cared for in the afterlife. In some countries, an unwed woman is an embarrassment to her family and is no longer allowed to live in the family house. Some see the unmarried woman as mentally ill because no woman in her right mind would choose not to marry. There are different reasons why spirit marriage is performed. If a woman's fiancé dies before the wedding, she may choose to have the wedding. In this tradition, a rooster may take the place of the groom. The woman will then live with the fiancé's family, remain celibate, and the rooster will accompany her to family events. She will then be a part of the family lineage and be cared for after death. It is a tradition in some cultures that the oldest brother must get married before the younger. If the older brother dies, a ghost marriage will usually take place before the younger brother is married, so the spirit of the deceased brother is not upset and tradition is upheld. It is important for deceased men to marry after death to claim their right to a wife, or they will suffer mental anguish in death. And while not exactly a ghost marriage, there is a custom where if the husband dies before the wife and she wants children, then the husband's brother will stand in for the deceased brother. Any children born from this union will be considered to belong to the deceased brother. You may be wondering, how does one find a companion for a deceased family member? Well, there are feng shui masters and priests that act as ghost matchmakers. These matchmakers work with the family to find a suitable mate for the dead. They take into consideration what the deceased wanted according to the family. The price for dowry is set to the bride's family, and then a lucky date is picked for the ceremony. The date is chosen carefully to prevent bad luck from befalling the parents of the bride and groom. In this tradition, the bride is exhumed and buried either next to or in the same grave as her new husband. Due to the number of ghost marriages performed and the fact that men outnumber women, there can be a shortage of corpse brides. Due to the shortage, some families turn to the black market. Some female corpses are stolen from graves and sold for the equivalent of thousands of US dollars. The same corpse may be dug up and sold multiple times. Also, some women are murdered to be sold for this tradition. Some graveyards have had to resort to CCTV and concrete coffins in an attempt to prevent theft. As stated earlier, Asian countries are not the only ones practicing posthumous marriage. This practice is legal in France, and many requests are granted. During the ceremony, the bride will usually stand next to a picture of her deceased fiancé. The most common reason for posthumous marriage in France is to legitimize children that a woman might have. Posthumous marriage has also been performed in the U.S. In 1987, a Florida man died of a heart attack before marrying his fiancée. 2 weeks later, a judge ordered the court clerk to sign a marriage license on his behalf. In Germany, due to the laws in the 1930s, Jews were not allowed to marry non-Jews. A woman was able to posthumously marry the man she loved in 1950, with retrospective effect to 1937. The leaders of the Unification Church in South Korea believed only married couples could enter the highest level of heaven. When their son died in 1983, before his arranged marriage could take place, they conducted a posthumous marriage ceremony in 1984. In South Africa, in 2004, a man shot his fiancée and then himself during an argument. The families of the victim later posthumously married the couple, so they could remember them as a happy couple and unify the families. Have you ever known someone who was part of a posthumous marriage? Also, what do you think of ghost marriage? Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to reading your opinions. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.